Hello, my name is Lucas, this is a bit of lit, and I was tagged in the Amplify Voices tag by Sean the Book Maniac, along with a host of other people, to select an essay, poem, novel, excerpt, or speech by a person of color or from a marginalized voice. And I will tag Around the Weird, Mr. Nothing, Around the Weird, the host who might be a ghost. And honestly, the way I feel about tags is that if you see a tag, you should do it, especially if you're interested in it. Or you should do a tag if you're interested in it. Doesn't matter if someone tags you. I think that's silly, having to wait. If you see a tag and you like it, just do it. So anyway, number one, amplify tag tasks. Select an essay, poem, novel, excerpt, or speech by a person of color or from a marginalized voice. I chose The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes. If you're offended by the fact that I said Negro, it is the name of the poem. There's not a whole lot I can do. I mean, if it was a much more offensive word, I would pick another poem, probably. Just not something I want to say. But that's the name of the poem by Langston Hughes. Tell us about the author. Langston Hughes is a writer of all different kinds. He wrote poems, novels, plays, I believe. And during the Harlem Renaissance time period, and from what I understand about him, he also amplified voices in his own right. He was very encouraging of artists of his day. Please forgive the fan noises. My computer is quite loud these days with the new power supply unit. But yeah, he's got a really powerful voice, and I've always been a fan of him since I started reading him in college. Really amazing, in my opinion. So yeah, that's why I picked him. Largely, I picked him, one, because I like him, and two, because from what I remember, he used his platform, right, as a well-known artist, to amplify voices. I think he was quite picky about who he helped, but and who he amplified, but I don't know too much about his history, but I'm pretty sure that it's him that amplified voices. So, perfect choice, in my opinion. There are other choices, some that might even be better, but why did I choose this piece? Well, it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about a poem and, get 2 for 1 here. And yeah, it's a really beautiful poem, I think, about the, what am I trying to say? Like, throughout the generations, right, there is this connection for, I suppose, the soul of black people, we'll say. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to pick it. It's a poem, and it's really beautiful, and I think that it has this vibe of, like, the longevity and the strength and the ever-changing currents of the souls of black people, and that kind of thing. Anyway, now number 4, read the piece. Okay, this is The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. And yeah, I think there's definitely a sense of interconnectivity for black people throughout centuries, millennia even. Ancient, the world is ancient, and the rivers are ancient, and the the water flows just like human veins, human blood. So in a way, you know, excuse me, the souls and the blood of the world, in a way, is, belongs to black people. Not exclusively, but, and a lot of these places are near Africa, of course, or in the Middle East, Euphrates. Congo, of course, is in Africa. And the Nile is in Egypt, which is in Africa. Congo being, I assume, in the Congo. I don't actually know. Maybe it's in a country next to the Congo. I don't know my African geography. I apologize. But I would imagine, anyway, you know what I'm saying. But then there's the Mississippi, which is clear on the other side of the world. And I think it is interesting that, I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, who famously freed slaves in America, or at least in the Confederacy, in the South. And I've seen its muddy bosom, right? The way I see that is like it's been dirtied by slavery, right? Which was horrific. But it's been dirtied. These other ones are calming, right? I bathed in the Euphrates, made myself clean. The Congo lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Niles and raised the pyramids. I was very industrious in that way. And then the Mississippi has muddy bosoms, but it turns golden in the sunset. So there's, by the end of the day, in the future, right, things will get better and be golden. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. And yeah, there's just this connection to earth. And, I'm sure there's plenty of other things to say. But anyway, I really love this poem. And it's been a while since I talked about Langston Hughes. I'm sure there's a lot more to say, but that's what I had to say. Is there another thing? Tag some white booktubers. Just do the tag. All right? Goodbye.